Good morning, namaste. Let's talk about how do we form new, better habits. And of course, we're going to talk it from Vedic and Hindu philosophical systems. So samskara is a really loaded word. It's there's so much philosophy and esoteric concepts behind it. So we're not just going to go there. A very simple understanding. It's like a new habit. It's a tendency. And these tendencies, these samskaras, have an effect on our spiritual, mental, physical health, the way we live our life, illness, and so on. So, first of all, before we get into what samskara is, let's talk about habits. In New Year, every New Year, we form new habits, right? How many of you formed a new habit in 2022 or tried to? I mean, I always try to do that every year. And do we stick to it? Are we really able to stick to our new habits? No, this is not. I am not counseling. I'm not a counselor. This is just to throw it out there from a Vedic philosophy viewpoint, from Ayurvedic philosophy, from yogic philosophy, a little mishmash of everything. How can we form new habits that'll kind of stick to us? It becomes kind of normal and automatic, and we do it without thinking. So that is what samskara is. So I did a class a couple of weeks ago on samskara, and I asked my students, have you formed a new habit and have you stuck to it, and what are the practices that helped us, or they were not able to do it? What do I do? And maybe something works for you, something doesn't. Well, enjoy.
Okay, so one of the things that you will be doing with your clients is helping them change their habits, form a new, Ayurveda is all about the lifestyle, right? So you can unmute yourself and tell me, have you ever formed a new habit? Like deliberately wanted a new behavior, a new habit? Anybody here? I'll go first. Some years ago, I'm from India, so I drink chai, and chai has milk in it, right? So I wanted to give up, and all my life, you know, I have had chai. So for 45 years, I'm drinking chai with milk. I decided to, give up milk. It took me 5 to 6 months to give it up. Now it's a habit. That was 4 years ago. Anyone else want to go?
I would say like the biggest habit that is also the most advantageous for me is having a morning routine. And I'm really bad in keeping habits for sure. I bounce back and forth,
Hmm.
but I can still notice a difference between years back and now that I stick to it pretty well, unless
Hmm.
there is, I'm traveling or I'm sick or something, then I might fall off of it. But yeah, that's definitely my favorite habit.
The morning routine. How long
Morning
did
routine.
it take for you to get to the point?
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Long,
It's
not months, I would say even over years. It slowly trickled in, and I did more of this. I don't know if we talk about it, but more of this habit stacking.
uh-huh.
Where you brush your teeth anyway, so you might as well scrape your tongue. And
Uh-huh.
while you do that, you might as well, enjoy your rose water in the morning. And then you might as well then add a few minutes of reading, and then you might as well add some journaling. So kind of that way. And then, you kind of stack one habit after the other and create like a bigger routine out of it.
Right. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
I was gonna say for me, it would be the journaling.
Hmm. How
Morning,
long have you been journaling?
a very long time, years.
Okay.
But it was something that was suggested by my therapist when I was very young, when I first started going to therapy. And I've also like I have days where like I can't, but now I like make myself at least write one page. I try to go for three, and it's just an open format, like whatever's going on. It doesn't have to be like prompted. So I try to do that every day, even if it's just one page. So, and
Okay.
it took a very long time because
Yeah.
you have to like sit down and make yourself do it. And
So now it's more automatic. You just do it.
yeah, I try to do it in the morning, but sometimes it's impossible.
Right.
So
But still, it's,
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
like the morning pages from the artist way. Yeah. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing
Okay.
that.
Okay. I stopped taking less sugar, and especially with the coffee or tea, I completely
Tell
stopped.
me about it.
Yeah. So I don't know, like, that's what my daughter was saying. It was not too bad. And one time my mind decided, I just stopped. That from that day, I didn't feel I'm missing out anything.
So you said less sugar. Imagine if
Yes.
you had to go from, having whatever. Let's imagine it's going from 1 teaspoon in every coffee to nothing. That would have been very jarring, right?
That's why I tell you, like, it's
So
not
you did
like to
half,
me,
you,
it's like if my mind makes it, that's it. I don't feel I lost something.
yeah. So, but if you go from 1 teaspoon to maybe quarter teaspoon or half teaspoon, it's easier to, isn't it?
Uh, maybe, but from my side is like, kind of like if I have to decide to zero, then why
You'll
not
just
from
do it.
today
You have a
itself?
strong willpower. Got it. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing. All right. Anyone else who formed a new habit? Carly, anything? You said you formed a new habit.
I guess probably like eating breakfast every day.
Oh, really? You never ate breakfast before?
Well, I mean, I do now, maybe like a couple years ago. I didn't always, I mean, I'm Vata, so sometimes I'd eat breakfast, sometimes I wouldn't, but now I am hungry pretty much like I'm getting hungry at the same times every day, which is what I'm trying to work on. So I'd say eating breakfast
Okay.
is
Yeah, that's definitely a habit. I mean, yeah. What about Indira or Jayanti ji?
Similar experience, Manjulali ji, just like yours. But I used to drink all my life. I used to drink milk in the morning.
Oh.
And so I just one fine day
It was
stopped drinking.
so hard to give up milk for me. Oh my God. I've given up sugar. That was easier, but of course I always bounce back. But milk was so hard.
Yeah, so I just stopped one fine day, but then I had to find some other replacement instead of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So anyway, now I'm out of milk.
But
So
on Ekadashi, you still end up taking milk, right?
no, I don't take milk at all now.
Okay. What about takra? You do takra, right? I mean, dairy
Yes,
products. Okay.
yes, I do takra. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And then Indira ji? Oh, never been successful on wagon, off wagon. Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's what we're trying to talk about today. I know, Marian, but I'm kapha. Milk is not good for me. I mean, uh, yeah. So, but I mean, I still do takra. Cannot do it without takra. All right. Why, as Ayurveda counselors or Ayurveda practitioners, we need to know how habits are formed, and why is it important for us? Why is it important for you to know this? Did Jamaria leave?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, then we missed you. Did you form a new habit?
Drinking warm water in the morning. That's something that I started with this class.
Okay.
Um, and I'm actually pretty successful with it because I have my routine. It's like I get up, I get my cup, I let my cats out, and then I drink my water.
Right. Okay. Okay. So now it's become automatic, but how long did it take for it to become an automatic thing?
A couple of months.
Okay, that's not too bad at all. A couple of months is
Yeah,
quite normal. Yeah,
a couple of months.
that's good. Awesome. Okay. So why do you think it's important for us to know about these? We'll just start with Jamaria again because you're unmuted. For us to know how habits are formed as Ayurveda counselors or practitioners.
Because we have to be patient with our clients.
And what is their patience? What is the world that we live in? We live in the world
It's
of everything
automatic.
instant.
Yeah.
Everybody wants instant results. Pop a pill.
Mhm.
I want to feel better now. I want instant gratification. It is
Mhm.
our job to let them know there
That
is
it
no
takes
there ain't no such thing as instant gratification in Ayurveda. It's a
Mhm.
habit. So that's what, and in one of the words that we are using, and we are going into yoga philosophy, and you'll probably enjoy this, Nandini and Marian. And we're going to go a little bit into, of course, Vedic philosophy. And the word that we are going to use for this habit is samskara, right? So what is it that you understand from the word samskara, Indiraji? You can unmute yourself if you want.
Samskara mostly for us, it's like we talk about only good samskaras. It's like a good habit to have or something imprinted in you.
That's correct. But can samskara be a habit also? And if you think about it, when we form new habits, when we form new patterns, I'm going to just give me 1 second. I'll share some how a habit is formed from a psychological point of view here. Give me 1 second. So there are good samskara and there's also bad samskaras as well. It's just an imprint, right?
Yes.
So let's see if I can. Ah,
And say it goes with our Atma, I think. It's attached to our Atma, and that's what takes us to the
all
next.
the koshas.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And this is what we're going to get into. So according to the psychology and American Psychological Association, we are learning new habits. It's not just a habit, like morning routine is an entire, not just a habit, but it's a learning process, right? And it's important for us to know because we are going to be the teachers, and we have to have these tools. So we basically learn new habits and learn new skills, and we're going to also be teaching our clients how to cook and whatnot. So basically, the definition of learning, and this is it. This is the part. Can everybody see this? I just pasted this thing on the top of the whiteboard. Can you guys
Yes.
see it? Yeah. Okay. I don't know who that is on iPhone. Somebody just told me I'm going to be driving, so listen only mode. I don't know who you are. So anyway, so the samskara is a habit, and samskara is also something you've learned, and it's imprinted on your mind, on the grooves of your nerves. So when we actually learn something, especially children, when they, I mean, you must have experiences from your childhood and memories that are kind of imprinted on you, right? So we basically learn or form new habits when we construct or reconstruct an experience. Very simple. And this experience that is, keeps on repeating, it has an emotional and intellectual emotional impact on us, basically. That's a very, so it's basically a permanent behavioral modification, right? And we permanently modify our behavior as a result of some experience, not just one, but more than one experience, right? And even though the word here is learning, but Ayurveda lifestyle is not just one habit. It's so many habits. Like Marion, you said morning routine. How many things? Get up in the morning earlier. For people who do not have breakfast, have breakfast. If you're Vata, you must have breakfast, even if you're not hungry. Have to have it at this time. Or for Kapha like me, who love to eat, oh, don't have breakfast. That is another thing. And then brush your teeth, the tongue. Now, oil pulling. Now take a hot glass of water. Now go for a walk. Now do your morning meditation. Oh goodness. But what if I'm the kind of person who wants to go partying at night? I won't be able to get up in the morning and do all of this. That means I actually have to stop going to parties and start going to bed early. There are so many permanent behavioral modifications that are going on for this lifestyle that it's actually like a learning, not just one habit, it's many, many habits. Would you agree with me? Oh, okay. Yes, no, maybe? Okay. So when we learn stuff, we either learn by visual cues or hearing or reading, writing. So when you have a client who comes to you and you are trying to help them, kind of learn a new lifestyle, you'll give them things that you will write down that they will read. That is done. And you will also tell them you should do this, you should get up in the morning, da 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 da. For some pitta people, you need to give them visual cues. Honestly, like I am so pitta in my mind. If somebody gives me something to read and write, my eyes glaze over. Just give me an image. Just give me a flow chart. Anyone like that? I would prefer a flow chart or an image rather than like 4 pages of, you know, or make it at least interesting, right? So when we are trying to, we all know that oh, this person needs to get up in the morning, they need to do this. The way we present it to the client, depending on the client it is, yeah. So you could, you could ask, do you want something visual? You could give something visual, or sometimes I have clients who said, can you please record our session and I want to hear it, I do not want any pages. I've had many clients like that. So we end up recording my session. Okay, you like, why do you want me to do this in the morning? Okay, morning start this. Or if I'm telling them you should do mantras in the morning or a meditation, or I tell them you should do this pranayam, oh, can we record this and I want to hear this later? So we end up recording so many times, right? And the kinesthetic is only when you're going to be showing them how to cook. So that kind of does, or you're going to be showing them where the marma is, then you're going to be using this, right? So just something, before, does anyone remember a time when you guys did not have a cell phone? No, Carly, I know you always had one. They were no, yes. Oh, Jamari, of course you remember. Sort of. Okay. Yes, Jesse, you remember this. There was no, like, we did not live in a world of instant gratification then, right? I just heard from somebody, and I'm going to try and do it. And I try to do it, but I'm not always successful. Is, when people do fasting, they do a religious fast where they don't eat certain things, so it's called upavas. We should not just try to fast from food, we should also try to fast from social media and screens, and just being attached to that. So that was an interesting thing that I learned. I'm trying to do it on when I fast. So basically you get a cue, you get a cue, and then it becomes part of your routine. Yes, exactly. Social media cleanse is a fasting, is a form of fasting. And that routine gives you a reward. Remember this. This is kind of important. And then we'll get into the, let's say your cell phone gets a push notification. You posted a picture on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, wherever you do it. And then instantly a notification. How many of you have notifications turned off? I have everything turned off. It drives me up the wall. Ping, ping, ping. It just, I go nuts. And I don't know, just me. Anybody who has the push notification turned off? Yeah. Yeah, because you're exactly, your phone goes, exactly, Carly, phone goes. But I've had, and the reason I wanted to talk about this is I'm sitting with my client, their phone is there, and they're like, we're talking about the Ayurveda, and their notifications are going off, somebody liked their picture. And I've had this, I swear to you, I'm not lying. People have picked up the phone and then they're smiling at who liked the picture in the middle of a consultation. But it's not their fault. It is a trigger. So just like we have triggers in our life where a person can trigger us or a situation can trigger us, this is it's kind of like the notification is a trigger, right? And what happens when we get this notification? We will check the account, because mostly every app is psychologically, they're doing it so we would put our mind and attention in these screens, right? And what is the reward you get? Because you feel good when somebody likes it. Oh, they like that, right? This is just a silly thing, just to give an example of when we are trying to form a new habit, there has to be a reward. Then we'll stick to it. Okay. So now think of it this way. You have a client and uh you want them to add a new habit. You have to add a reward with it. They must be rewarded or they will not stick to it. Indra, does it make sense?
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I'm the worst person. So I used to exercise a lot, then I stopped exercising at all, mostly because of my foot injury, and I've gained all this amount of weight. And then last year around, well, not last year, I mean, it's in November, I started like a more heavier exercise. Instead of just once a day, once a week, I started 3 times a week. But I reward myself. I allow myself, I'm telling you, if I walk 10,000 steps every day, or I reach my 50,000 steps a week, I will have an ice cream, or I will have, without the reward it ain't, especially for it's not happening. Or I mean, yesterday I rewarded myself with a halwa, little bit, tiny bit. But the idea is we need to give cheats, and it's, I don't know about everybody, some people are very like they are very disciplined, and that's awesome. You can find somebody who's disciplined, but most of us are not disciplined. So you have to have some kind of reward, either a psychological reward or something, right? Like let's say you ask somebody who's constipated, or tends to have constipation, to drink milk at night with triphala, right? What is the reward going to be having the milk with triphala at night with a little bit of ghee? What do you think the reward is going to be? Anybody? Yes. And then they'll be relief. So they know, but if I drink my hot milk with ghee and triphala at night, in the morning, I am going to be relieved of this constipation. So it'll automatically, they will try to make it a habit. Now, if you give them something, you should have hot milk, and it does not, they will not stick to it. So what does it tell us? That once we give someone a thing and they need to report back to us, and that, oh, this didn't work. So ask them, do it for 5 days straight, or 6 days straight, or 7, because the body is not going to, body is not in your, on your clock. The body is on its own clock. Yeah, body is following its own circadian rhythms, its own biorhythms, and it's on its own clock. So even taking that hot milk with triphala for 1 day, 2 day may not work. It may take 5, 6, 7 days for it to start working. So you need to let the client know it may take that time. And most of the time, people have no patience. They're like, oh, I took the triphala last night, nothing happened. Yeah, it's just 1 day. You have to give it time, and you have to combine it with this, and then it'll happen. So we need to set that up. But once that gets started, or if it doesn't work, maybe you need to increase the triphala, or you need to, maybe the issue is not that at all. Maybe you need to add more ghee, maybe you need to add more fiber to the diet. Something will work. And once it works, that is what you ask them to make a habit. Yeah, or maybe somebody's not drinking enough water. It has nothing to do with hot milk or triphala, right? So just giving, we need to go and follow up with a client and let them know. So that reward thing is very important. Without that, they will not stick. Okay. All right. Now we're going to start with the Sanskrit part of this. I think Anuradha had done this before, right? So I'm not going to, I have already shared on the Slack Anuradha's, here you go. Basically, Anuradha, who's a practitioner student who graduated last year, she had done this as a final project, and she had talked to me, Dr. Mithun, and a few yoga practitioners, and made this absolutely fantastic Manas Buddhi. And there's a lot of Sanskrit words, but just think of it as, from our perspective, we are talking about altering deep habits that are coming in our body and mind through previous life also. Does it make sense? Not just in this life, but previous life also. So that's what we mean here by samskaras. Now, in this slideshow, because she's a yoga practitioner, there's a lot of yoga words and Sanskrit words, which I do not, some of them are important, some of them are not. So I'm just going to go over them. Can you all see this?